Have you ever wondered why change feels so damn hard most of the time, even when you know what to do? You visualize, you journal, you read all the books, you swear that you're going to do something differently from tomorrow, but yet when life tests you, you slip back to the old emotional reactions. You're not lazy, you're not broken, it's that you're trying to change on the wrong level. And stay until the end because I will also share a 2-minute exercise that rewires your fear and builds confidence on the spot. So let's dive in. For years, I tried to change forcing behavior and it didn't work. I said to myself, I will be more confident, I will speak up, I will be more assertive. But when I got to that point, when I wanted to say something, I either froze or said something completely differently. I didn't follow through, and later I would rationalize that it was alright like that. It had a reason. Or even before I was taking the initiative, I would rationalize myself out that I don't have to say that. It's safer if I don't say that. Other people will like me more. It also wasn't conscious very much. It was mainly unconscious. My unconscious was basically governing and directing my attention and what I do. But deep down, I knew that wasn't myself. I was clinging onto an identity. I was addicted to an identity I didn't want to be anymore. That grew out. Here is the truth. You can't change by forcing the behavior if your identity is still the same. It's like repainting the house while the house is still sinking. The cracks will appear inevitably after a while. So what is the foundation and how can you fix it? Because if you understand that, you will understand why some people change so effortlessly while others fight the same battle for decades. So let's talk about the logical levels of change. Robert Dilts created this model to explain how human change works. It's shaped like a pyramid and every level influences the one below it. Here it is. To be honest, at first, when I learned about this, I was confused. Why is the top the bottom? But it makes sense because it's a smaller segment of the whole. So the environment at the top is a smaller segment as the beliefs or identity. So at the bottom is the environment and the results, where and when you operate. The second one is the behavior and actions, what you do. The third one is the capabilities, the skills, is the how you do something. The fourth one is beliefs, values, and stories that you tell about yourself. The fifth one is the identity, who you think you are. And the sixth one is called purpose, mission, and the source. From who, what is your biggest why? Most people are trying to change from the bottom, changing the environment, changing the behavior, changing the skills, capabilities, and after that, changing the beliefs and identity. But it works reverse, because if you get into an environment, you might achieve change temporarily. But if you stay the same, if your beliefs, if your skills, if what you do and how you do it, how you behave stays the same, you will be slipping back into the same old habits. That's why when we go into different environments, we sort of have the same experience about people. It is the projection of who we are already. So you can't be acting like a new person and still believing you're the old version of yourself, clinging onto that identity. You can't keep telling yourself, I'm good at confrontation, I am strong, and still believe emotionally that you're not. Just imagine like running a new software from 2025 on a old Windows 92. How would that work? But here is the shocking part. Every level has its own emotional resistance mechanism. And if you don't know which level your block is on, you might keep fighting the same battle for years. So let's decode it one level at a time. First and foremost, I want to make you aware that these levels are interconnected and might affect other levels as well. Most people start with the environment. They change jobs, they change country, they move to somewhere else. And then at first everything is good. But then after a while, they just start becoming the same people that they used to be. That's why some people change the jobs and move to a different country. And when you ask them, they say, oh, everything is the same. It's like here, whatever it is. Because they realize that how they have been seeing things hasn't really changed. Or maybe they don't even realize. That's why if you start achieving some sort of success in a different country, in a different job, you might be sabotaging yourself to get back to the same story that you already believe about yourself. The second one is behavior. If you get into a different environment and you bring the same habits with you, what you do day by day, if you keep drinking, if you keep gambling, if you just stay on the sofa, watch TV, and you are going to do the same in a different environment, that is what's going to define where you're going to go. If you get into a new environment and you have another person who treats you unjust, what do? You get back to the same old feelings. Other than protecting yourself, trying to change your behavior in order to not to experience that. Wouldn't that be a better solution? So you wouldn't need to be afraid of getting into a different environment and experiencing the same things. The third one is capabilities. If you get into a different environment and you are not able to act in a certain way, you shy away from something, or you do not have the emotional capacity to deal with something, you might just lack some skills, some emotional management skills, some communication skills, some assertiveness skills, so you can keep your ground and say what you mean assertively. And let's go to the fourth one, beliefs and values. If you go into a different job and you experience the same thing and you're not reacting in a way that you should be doing in order to protect yourself, if you don't have the skills to stand up, maybe you do not even need skills. Maybe you just need to have a different belief. Maybe you have the belief that if you speak up, people will not like that. That will be threatening. You associate more pain to actually speaking up than not speaking up. And then you just keep repeating the same cycle. And these beliefs can actually be present in any situation of your life. Spirituality, career, family, self-growth, health, relationships, anything that you want. And you might be holding the same belief, you might be carrying the same belief with you into any of these areas. So it's worth to have a little reflection about it, because unconscious forces in us are governing what we are capable to do. The fifth one is identity, is the beliefs about who you actually are. Am I this kind of person, that kind of person? If in a new environment you think that you're still the same person, you are not good at confrontation. People do not like you when you step up for yourself, when you are being assertive, because that's what you have learned. That's how you have been coping with things. And these can be amazing protective childhood defense mechanisms. But in reality, in adulthood, it might not be enough. So the sixth one is purpose and mission. Why you are there where you are. Why you are on this earth. What you live for. What drives you. Because into many different environments, especially if it's under the same category, you go for the same reasons. You go into a different job to earn more, to have more status, to become better, whatever it is that drives you, whatever it is, why you're there. Purpose fuels sustainable motivation. This is your biggest why. The why beyond your ego, why you do things sustainably. Family, to be healthy, to be wealthy, to provide, whatever it is. Your biggest why is what counts. Because as Nietzsche says, if you have a strong enough why, you can bear any how. So if you let your why to drive you through all the situations, and if you know your why, you are going to be stronger because you know that these things are going to come, and it doesn't matter what comes. If you know your purpose, you know that you have to go through it because adversity is going to come. So the best thing to do is to prepare ourselves how to deal with them. So changing your environment is short term. Changing your behavior is sort of midterm. Changing your beliefs, values, and identity is for the long term. I'm telling you this because I want to invite you to stop arguing for who you are, because you can be a lot more than who you are. To stop arguing to make sure that your problems keep existing. And that's where real life begins, when you embrace it and when you're not afraid of fear itself. But this also helps us to understand how all this works and not to go for something that we're so afraid of that we are paralyzed when we encounter it. Or we can think through that we can actually do different things about that, and that will cause change. That will cause us to change on a different level. So if your life hasn't changed yet, it might not be because you're not making actions or you're lazy or whatever it is, but it is because you're being the wrong you. Your wrong identity is trying to make that change. But imagine just being that person that can actually handle it and already does what is required. Here is a beautiful part. Change doesn't take time, it takes a decision. It requires you to have rapport with your unconscious mind, to be able to influence yourself unconsciously. Which brings us to our bonus. Let's use the logical levels of change to actually change. So now let's ask 6 questions from ourselves and actually consider the answers. Think of one area in your life where you actually want to change. First, where do I experience this? What is the environment? Second one, what am I doing or not doing in order to be proud of myself? Third one, what skills do I need and which skills do I already have? Fourth one, what do I believe about this? How come I'm not there yet? Fifth one, who am I when I act like this? And who can I actually be? And the last question is, how will this new identity serve me? What is the purpose of it? Notice where the strongest emotions live, on which level, because that is what you need to be focusing on. Change is not about becoming someone else. It's about expanding our identity, our personality, and becoming more. Because if you want results in your life that you have never had before, you need to do things in life that you have never done before. And to do things in life you have never done before, you need to think in a way you have never thought before. But how do you think in a way you have never thought before? Asking different questions. If you want to think in a different way in which you have never thought before, ask questions from yourself that you have never asked before. If that hit home, drop a comment with which level you're working on right now. But remember, mastery isn't about perfection, it's about direction. See you around.